Hi, Hayden here for Rothwell Audio Products, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Tornado Overdrive. The Tornado is a Class A JFET design pedal. As such, it can offer an unparalleled amp-like feel, along with a huge array of tones ranging from a clean boost through to a truly aggressive overdrive. Looking at the front of the unit, you can see that we have a volume pot, a gain pot and a tone pot, as well as a small shift switch, and we will be coming back to this switch just a little later in this review. Like all Rothwell pedals, the Tornado is true bypass. Let's start off by going through some of the low gain tones we can get out of the Tornado. As usual, in these videos we'll be going from the guitar to the pedal to a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe amplifier, which has the EQ set roughly flat. From there, a microphone direct to our recording source. And we don't do any EQ in post, so we get to give you what we believe to be a very honest version of what the pedal sounds like. As you can see, for this section of the demo I will be using this Baja Telecaster, and we are going to be using a few guitars throughout this demo because the pedal does have quite an array of tones in there. So let's start off. This is our dry sound. For this tone, we're going to have the pedal set with the volume around 2 o'clock, the gain around 8 o'clock, the tone at around 1 o'clock, and the shift switch disengaged. Before we listen to any of the sounds, it's worth mentioning the shift switch. Simply put, you could look at it as a vintage modern switch. With the switch disengaged, you would have the more vintage tone. With it engaged, a more modern tone in that it changes the character of the mids, tightens the bottom end, and gives you a bit more attack on the top end. We will be giving demonstrations throughout this video as to the different tones available with the switch engaged and disengaged, which might give you an even better idea than a simple explanation. If you would like to know more about the Class A JFET design of the pedal, please go to our website, which is www.rothwellaudioproducts.co.uk, and in there you'll find a lot more information regarding the technical aspect of the pedal. Okay, let's listen to the sound we just set up. This is using the bridge pickup. As you can hear in the lower reaches of the gain with this shift switch disengaged, you get a very pleasing breakup. It brings it in a little more warmth over the standard amp tone, gives you a little more sustain too. Switching to the neck pickup, we can kind of hear this even more. Let's take things up a notch here with the overdrive. We're going to have the volume around 2 o'clock, the gain at 12 o'clock, the tone at 3 o'clock, and the shift switch disengaged. With the pedals set like this, we obviously get a little more gain and a little more attack, even with the low output pickups that we find in this Telecaster. This is with the bridge pickup. Switching to the neck pickup, you get this big tubular overdriven sound that's incredibly addictive. Now let's take things up another gear. We're going to leave the volume where it was at 2 o'clock. We're going to have the gain all the way up around 4 o'clock. We're going to have the tone about 11 o'clock, and we're going to engage the shift switch. Now what this will do is bring in more high end and more aggressive bottom end and scoop those mids just a little. So let's see how aggressive that will get with our Telecaster. great things about the Tornado is not just the amount of power and drive that's available, it's how it feels under your hands, and that's obviously something I cannot get across in a video, but it does feel like you're playing an amp. It feels responsive to your pick attack and just somehow feels right under your left hand. As a player, you'll know what I mean when I talk about that feel, so you'll have to get your hands on one of these yourself to really experience that. Now, we've covered very quickly a few different tones with the Telly. Let's go in a slightly more high gain area with the humbucker equipped guitar. Let's set the Tornado up for a really cool hard rock kind of tone. We're going to have the volume around 2 o'clock, the gain just before 1 o'clock, the tone around 1 o'clock, and the shift switch engaged. Now let's really investigate the differences in the tone shift using a high gain application. We're going to set up a high gain tone, and the only thing we're going to change here is the tone control to allow for the fact that engaging the shift switch does bring in a lot of high end. We're going to set the pedal up as follows. We're going to have the volume still around 2 o'clock, which is unity. We're going to have the gain all the way around at 4 o'clock, and we're going to have the tone at around 2:30. The shift switch is not engaged. Now let's bring in the shift control and take the tone down to around 1 o'clock. As you can hear, the shift switch opens up a whole new vault of tones to play with. And naturally, when you're setting up your tone, you'll alter your amp's EQ as well to suit your sound, helping you get it even more authentic. Now, in this video so far, we've listened to some extremely low gain tones with the Telecaster through to some pretty high gain tones with the Wolfie here, right up to a sort of shred sound. But the Tornado will handle just that little bit more. So let's bring in one more guitar and see how extreme we can get this. For this last tone on the video, we're going to be using this Japanese Jackson Kelly, which is equipped with a ferociously high output sidewinder humbucker in the bridge and is tuned down to drop C. And we're going to use this so you can hear how that Tornado pedal, you remember the one that was capable of that just broken up valvey rich tubular tone with a low powered guitar, can handle something just a little bit more dangerous. Obviously, we have covered as many tones as the time will allow in this video, but there are a huge amount more just waiting inside the Tornado for you to discover. It can certainly handle all those low gain, lush tones, as well as a bit of, well, aggro. As mentioned earlier in the video, please check out our website at www.rothwellaudioproducts.co.uk, and don't forget to subscribe to us here on YouTube or friend us, and we would love to see what you're doing with your Rothwell pedals. Until next time, this was Hayden saying goodbye.